Okay, now we're going to talk about making a task group. So we've got lots of task templates for all the individual tasks, and what we want to do is make something that's going to work in most circumstances and shortcut it for everybody, and that's a task group. So first of all, we have to make a plan on the diagram which we can then make into a task group. So to make this a bit quicker in the presentation, I'm going to say, well, I've got a bunch of things that we do at the start of the project, so I've already got those as a task group, and they're in your template. So we can say that we're just going to use the ones at the start and putting it in the project like that. So it's already created those activities. And then I'm going to say, well, what is it that we're going to do now? I'm going to make a high output ballast cleaning plan. So I'm going to go to my library on the right hand side, and we're just going to focus on the HOBSI elements. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to position and set up the high output ballast cleaning device. So we're going to make a new activity based on that, and we just draw a vertical line and we say, well, how long is it going to take us? And we can say that graphically, or we can just type it in. So it might take us half an hour to do that, and we can do that as soon as we've finished this activity. So we draw a link to that point, click on reschedule, and we've got that positioned. We then want to think about the resources we've got on this element. So we might want to say, well, we've got 18 of those wagons typically, and 18 of those. So that's typically what we would have. That sets the sort of footprint, and then at that point we're then going to have a further activity, and that's where we're going to have the main action itself, and we're going to do that between the two extents, and that's where it's useful then to pick from a pick list the fact that that starts at that point and ends at the end. So and we can link these items together now. So I can create a link from this activity to this one, and when I let go, we get some more information about it. I do want to base it on time, so as soon as it's set up, we can start work, but I do want to update the train setup on a reschedule. So that means when I reschedule, well, let's see what it's like without that setting. So without that on, if we reschedule, it just moves that. It hasn't changed the length of that activity. If we select that link again by double clicking, click this update the train setup on a reschedule, when we reschedule now, not only does it put it in the right place, but it sets the length, it sets the resources on this activity to be the same as the one previously. So after that, we're going to do another activity. We're going to do a wrap up at the end. So again, we just create a task there, and we draw a link from there to the beginning of this one, which I missed. So I can say that this is the wrap up, and we do want to use the train setup again. So if we press reschedule, it's going to be in the right place. That didn't work for some reason, so let's just try that again. So we're going to wrap up the HOBSI and it leaves site. Oh yes, we also need to synchronize this. We need to move it so it's in the same position as its predecessor. So once we've done that, we're then going to do some tamping. So we're then going to go to the tamping activities, and we're going to do a run first of all with the TDS. So, and we're going to do it in this direction here. So we're going to do it like that, and we're going to do that as soon as this activity is finished, but really not in time. So if we reschedule now, we could really start that a bit sooner and gain some time. So as long as we miss the train wrap up, that would be fine. So we're going to change this link to be a distance to successor and consider the task shape, and we're going to put 10 yards in here just so it clips the corner, misses the corner of the wrap up by 10 yards. So if we reschedule that, we've got that in a nice position, the most optimum position, and we've probably saved ourselves quite a bit of time in doing that. So but also we're going to create a link from this activity to this one, which seems superfluous, but the reason we want to do that is that we want the tamping to inherit the start and end distances of the preceding activity. That has no effect at the moment, but if I were to change my mind about how much we could do and reschedule, then this activity can also get shorter because it's mirroring this activity's process. So after we've done that, we're going to do another run of this activity, and again all I've got to do is say we're going to link these together, and that's going to take us 10 minutes to get the train from one end to the other. But I also want this to bring the start and end distance from the task above. So if we reschedule that, we've got the right place. We can select this whole section and we can move that to there, and we can reschedule. So this has got to work as a group if we change our mind. And at the end of all that, we've got we're going to do another task group, which is a wrap up of what's happening at the end, and then we're just going to link this one in and say that's a finish to start. This is our typical way of doing a HOBSI. So we're going to select everything either by rubber boxing it if we could see it, or by selecting one thing and using the Control A key on the keyboard to select everything. Then if we find any of the sort of containing boxes and we right mouse click at this point, we can save this as a task group. So we're saving this to a task group. We're calling this high output ballast cleaning. So that's been saved away. If we look in our library, we've now got HOBSI that wasn't there before. If I select one thing here, Control A and delete, we can then click on this create a task group section, draw a box, again choose our task group, the one we've just made. We want it by coordinates, we want it at these measures at this time, and then everything that we've done it's going to put in to that area, and all we've got to do is reschedule, job done.